How's it going, everybody? It's your world champion here, and I just got done with another filler arc. That's right, where we may have left the actual story in our rearview mirrors, we still have some filler arcs to get to the end of the anime. And what better way than to start with a very short filler arc, which I am dubbing the children arc, because we basically get to look at everybody as children and kind of retcon some other things. Before we get into that, I just want you guys to know that, there is a like button down there. It likes to be colored. So be sure to hit that like button, make it colored, make it happy, and it also makes YouTube happy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, so that way you don't miss any of my other content. And to be sure that you don't miss any of that content, hit that bell icon so you get notified. And with that out of the way, let's dive right in. This is the children arc. So how this arc is structured is it's only 4 episodes long, so I guess it's like a mini arc in a way, but each episode it's basically like these little short stories of our main cast basically as kids. So we have one story about Naruto, one about Hinata, Sasuke, Sakura, Gaara, Shikamaru, Jiraiya, and Kakashi. That's how it's all structured like that, and it's cool. It's alright. I mean, we'll get into more of my issues with it, but let's start first with the Naruto one. So the Naruto one, pretty simple. He's just kind of going around town. People are bad-mouthing him and all that. We have some cameos from Sasuke and Iruka Sensei just kind of noticing Naruto and all that. And Naruto just kind of goes into the woods, and he's just like running around training a little bit, and then he catches some fish, cooks them up, when all of a sudden this old man shows up. And this old man turns out to be the third Hokage. And one thing that kind of surprised me here was that Naruto didn't recognize him. Okay, I mean, it'd be one thing if the third Hokage used like a transformation jutsu in order to like hide himself from Naruto. That would be one thing, but Naruto didn't recognize the third Hokage, the man who's supposedly supposed to be taking care of him. Like what? That just took me out of it. And so they're just sitting there, they're eating, and their stomachs grumble because, they're sharing food and all that. Third Hokage does some wisdom towards Naruto, being like, oh, look at the sky, we're just so insignificant compared to the universe. Ends with Naruto jumping off the fourth Hokage's head, being like, well, I know who I am. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. It's cool, neat, awesome. Again, these are like short stories that we're talking about here. So that was Naruto's story. In the same episode, we get Hinata's story. So Hinata's story basically starts off with Neji. Neji training with his dad, learning from his dad, being like, okay, I am from the Branch family. I'm supposed to protect the Hyuga and all the Hyuga stands for. And we cut to where Neji meets Hinata when she's 3 years old. And then we cut to them kind of sparring a little bit because, gotta have our toddlers spar with each other. A 4 and a 3-year-old just hitting each other, smacking each other across the face. And it kind of ends. So this is just another weird thing. So it goes into like Neji's father dying and all that. And we see like him crying. And then Hinata just runs away. I mean, I know part of her thing is she's afraid to become the clan head and all that, and she's very nervous about all that. But, I mean, come on. Who lets their 3-year-old just run away from the snow? And there's a couple moments where she just falls in the snow, and she's just laying there for like a couple seconds. I'm like, come on, can we speed things up, please? And then Naruto finds her, takes her home, and then just runs away. And her dad is just like, don't listen to that boy. Where have you been? You got a lot of responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And then Naruto gives her a piece of advice being like, I never cry. Yet, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, Naruto did cry in the beginning, didn't he? He just dried up the tears after a while. But to say you never die, come on, dude. Come on, Naruto. So that ends the first episode. The second episode starts with good old Sasuke here. Sasuke, he's bugging Itachi as always to train him and everything. And Itachi actually says that he'll train him when their parents go for this trips. And apparently their parents are going to visit like the mom's family or something. So they're actually surprised that Itachi is going to be training Sasuke for a bit. So they train for a little bit the next day. They have nice little brotherly bonding moments. One that's really cool as well, because Sasuke, he confides in Itachi being like, I want to be you. I wish I could be you, so that way mom and dad can acknowledge me like they acknowledge you. And Itachi flat out tells him, no, you're going to be better than me. You're going to be stronger than me. And then Sasuke passes out, Itachi leaves and just disappears. And that's pretty much that episode. We move on to Sakura's episode next, which is basically her learning to flaunt what she's got with her giant forehead and to basically be more confident in herself and her looks and her abilities and all that. And like, again, these were kind of slow. And this part actually kind of rewrote her and Ino's like meeting and how they became love rivals towards Sasuke and all that. And it gets to the point where Sakura, she tries to confess to Sasuke her feelings, and he basically brushes her off. She runs away and just starts like training and kind of hits Naruto a little bit, and he kind of falls for her there. But I mean, that's pretty much Sakura's deal. We get some cool interludes in Sakura's part with like her parents and all that, and her dad just being a dad as always, and her mom just, you know, being a mom, like cookie cutter parents right there for storytelling. Good job, anime team. I praised you to high end on the last arc. So that's the end of the second episode. We move on to the third episode, the first story all about Gaara, and it's basically Gaara just dealing with his loneliness. So he kind of hangs out with Tamari and Kankuro for a little bit in the beginning of the episode, you know, making fun little sand sculptures and making different foods that Kankuro's saying, and then their dad comes by, takes them away, and is basically just scolding them for hanging out with Gaara, and Gaara gets all upset. His dad tries to kill him again, you know, the usual. And then we cut over to him and Yashimaru basically having their talks and discussions about basically life. Like, oh, why do we get hungry? Why is the sky blue? Why don't I have a mom? And Yashimaru answers these questions as best as he could, but Gaara just wants to play, put the sand in the bucket, so just let him play his little game. It's all the craze in the Sand Village. Hey, that's basically Gaara's story. Move on to Shikamaru's story, which this one got me. So Shikamaru, I hate when the anime team does like these past episodes, because they make it seem like Naruto actually had friends before becoming a ninja. Naruto's whole story is that he didn't have anybody. He was alone. Yet we see that he still like hangs out with everybody, and we're all cool buddy. And I understand the whole idea of him not having anybody to go home to where everybody else did. It's just really weird to me because he acts like a totally different Naruto in this school setting, because there's a part during Shikamaru's story, and Shikamaru's just like in the background for most of this. He's just observing everything. But there's a part in this where Naruto sticks up for Hinata and tries to get him off her back and all that. And then he tries to come between Shikamaru and Choji because they're starting to fight. And he does something where it's just like, oh, you know, let me have a bet in. And they all kind of laugh and hang out at the end. And there's a part where like they watch Ino get dumped by Sasuke and get beat up by her. And they meet up with Iruka Sensei, who's in the red light district, and Naruto uses the sexy jutsu on him, and then they call it a night. Okay, thanks for Shikamaru's story and all of this. Then the last episode was actually, I think, pretty decent, at least the first half. So we have Jiraiya, and man, this made me just a little sad here. But we have Jiraiya here. He is basically sneaking around, being a pervert and all that. He has a Orochimaru kind of tail around with him too, and that's actually kind of funny because Orochimaru just doesn't want anything to do with it. So we kind of see like a progression with all of them. So we see them as kids sneaking into a bathing house, looking at the naked women bathing and all that. Then we cut over to like a little more down the line where Jiraiya tries to have Orochimaru play as a villain to kind of save Tsunade and woo her heart that way. That's all right, that's cool. And then we cut over to when they're older, like during one of the Ninja Wars. And they're having a campfire talk, and Jiraiya just says, hey, let's talk about what our dreams are. And Tsunade mentions that she wants to see the world, all four corners of the world, and to win it big at each casino that she sees. And Jiraiya, he wants to protect her in her travels, and well, he gets shot down again. So we're seeing more of Jiraiya's shot downs, which kind of sucks, but it's part of Jiraiya and all that. And Orochimaru actually confides in them, says he wants to master ninjutsu and become stronger than anybody. And Jiraiya questions that, saying, well, why do you want to get stronger? And Orochimaru doesn't know. So that's kind of deep. And then they get attacked by ninjas, and that's it for that story. We move on to Kakashi now, who basically is going to the academy and cooking dinner for Rin and Obito, again, breaking that story of Obito always being jealous of Kakashi and Rin having to be peacemaker between those two. Okay. But basically, Kakashi is just living life, you know? He's catching fish, he's making dinner, and he visits his dad's grave, and he vows to always obey the rules even though he's meeting friends. We do get to see like a couple like clashes with him and Guy, which are actually pretty funny, but it didn't really do too much. And I guess that's my biggest thing with this arc. So I'm giving it a C-. Now, the thing with this arc is it's actually animated very well. Like the animation team, like drawing everything, animating, making the characters move and all that, it's actually done pretty well. And even the ambiance too, like it's a very quiet arc. Like there's not a lot of action, there's not a lot of music even being played too. It's just a lot of snippets of the soundtrack. But overall, I mean, it's just kind of boring in there. I mean, I understand what they're going for with these like short stories and all that, but when you kind of go into your own canon and break a lot of stuff in your canon for the sake of filler, I'm not 100% on board with that. And again, like it felt like nothing happened. Like we didn't advance much of anything except maybe putting more stock into the last Naruto movie. That's pretty much it if you think about it. But I mean, I think C-, that's a generous grade, I think, because again, I've said it on multiple occasions. The worst thing filler can do is be boring. And at times I did feel bored. I tried so hard to just get more into it, but I mean, again, the animation was fine. I do understand where they were going with the atmosphere of everything, but I don't know. That's basically what I thought of this arc. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this little mini arc and all that. Be sure to like the video if I entertain you in any way, shape, or form, and don't forget to check out the links down below to any of my social media accounts like Twitter, Instagram, and all that. And there's a link at the bottom too for a place called the Void Century Club, where you can talk anything anime, manga related, mainly One Piece, but there are some sections for like My Hero Academia and Naruto as well. So don't forget also to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss next week's arc review, as well as hitting the bell icon so you get notified of every time a video goes up. And as always, people, I've been your world champion. Catch you guys in the next video. See ya.